Hi guys, Bran here, and today we're doing a little bit of a more fun video, like I said. And today we are doing my top 10 favorite killers. Keep in mind this list is subjective. There's nothing about this. We're not talking about the strength of the killers. We're not talking about the, effectiveness of the killers. We're not talking about best to last objectively. We're talking about me. This is all about me. It's my show. And it's about the people that I like. Personally, people I like playing, people I like in my rotation. I'm going to put those into a solid top 10 so that you all can see what I like to play. So keep any like, oh my god, I can't believe you like playing that character. Keep that to yourself, because you're making the wrong assumption that I care what you think. So yeah, go ahead and enjoy the video, friend. Okay, let's go with number 10. Number 10. I think somebody I can't leave out of my top 10, even if it's on the very fringe of top 10, is Oni-chan. Oni has probably the coolest lore in the game, being a samurai in the dying era of samurai, one of the last of the samurai, in losing himself to his old ways, even when we should be moving on. And his lore is just immaculate. And if you have not read or got interested in that, you should definitely take the time to read it and get into it. Also, he's a very, very effective killer. He's somebody that is not easy. I think that's the cool thing. It's not like Spirit where you can just stand still at a pallet. Oni is very, very good, but he's not easy. He takes a lot. You gotta, be able to flick around corners. You gotta optimize using your power, optimize gaining your power, staying in your power. There's a lot to him, which is why I don't play him as much, despite him being one of my, my number 10 of my top 10 killers. I don't play him too much because he has a lot of things he's got to juggle to like go burr. But he's a very, very cool character, and I think there's few highs in this game that are better than getting a really, really good like demon rush, like getting the mostest out of one of your demon tiers. Not tiers, I'm thinking of Myers. But yeah, getting the most out of a charge of your power, and slugging a whole team, or blasting people, unlike this character that just kind of does it whenever they want just because they injured somebody. Like he actually earns it, which is really, really cool. So not only is his power cool, he's also got one of the best door breaking animations in the game, because he just like punches the door through, which is really neat. He's also got my favorite Mori in the game, where he rips out their tongue, stabs them, and then he's like, why won't you shut up, and then he beats them to death with a kanabo. It's very cool. It's very metal. So yeah, Oni comfortably sits at number 10. And now we're gonna get to the ones that's gonna make, when I made that comment about people being like, oh my god, I can't believe you like that character. This is gonna be it. This is the one I was worried about. Number 9 is good old Fredward. Okay, so first off, he's still number 9 even after the patch where he's nerfed. So hey, I don't like him because he was easy to win and get wins with. No, that's called the Wraith Retirement Home. That's this guy right here. No, I like Fred because Nightmare on Elm Street is my second favorite horror franchise, right under Halloween. So, that's a little bit of a spoiler for later. So, obviously, I love the IP, even though this is the 2010 version, which is dog water. But yeah, I like Freddy a lot. I think he's a very, very cool character just in his mythos. It's hard not to play him. And also, even after his nerf, he's kind of like my turn my brain off character. Killer's a pretty hard and pretty intense thing to do. That's why you'll see me on the stream, just like if I'm not feeling it, I'll take a day off of Killer and just kind of play Survivor. Because Killer's pretty intense. It requires a lot of thought and attention consistently. And it's pretty rough. It's pretty rough. But Freddy's somebody who doesn't really require a ton of thought. So I can kind of autopilot a bit and still get to play Killer, which is a really nice thing when you play like 5-hour sessions of DBD Killer, because it can only stay so interesting for so long. So the fact that I can just kind of play a character and kind of just throw it to the wall and see what sticks, it's just nice. It's just nice, it's just nice. So I like him for that regard, and that's why he sits comfortably at number 9. Speaking of the Freddy Retirement Home, Wraith is number 8, and he was before the buff, and he is after the buff. I like sneaky boys. I think DBD for the most part does not function actually like a horror environment, like in any way, shape, or form. It just doesn't. Like you don't get scared. Nobody gets pop scared. Nobody's nervous if the killer's gonna show up. It's essentially kind of like a weird I don't want to say like a MOBA, but essentially everybody treats it like this weird, like competitive zone, and you got to do everything optimally. You're worrying about doing things like the fear is not a killer's going to come get you. The fear is I'm going to do the unoptimal thing and like die too early. But like I like stealthy boys like Wraith who can just like show up out of nowhere, especially if you're using the bone clapper and on add-ons like that, and you can just like confuse the heck out of them and get a hit. I think there's just, it gets close. It never reaches it, but it gets close to scaring the survivors, and it gets close to making the survivors feel uncertain and on their toes. And I really like that Wraith can evoke that feeling. Even when he was bad, even when he was really bad, it was still like nice that I could evoke that feeling for people. It was very, very fun. So that's why Wraith will remain in my top 10. He'll remain in 8. I think before his buff, I probably would have swapped him and Freddy, but you know, after his buff, he's a little bit more fun to play, obviously, because now he has map pressure, which is, you know, something every killer should have, but doesn't because power creep and stuff. Yeah. Number 7. I can't leave him out. We gotta do good old Pyramid Head. No, you're a Pyramid Head. Yeah, Pyramid Head is great. Because Silent Hill 2 is one of the best horror games of all time. Man, I bet you've never heard that before. But yeah, Silent Hill 2 is amazing, and he's the titular enemy, you know, with all the stuff with James and all that wonderful stuff. He's got one of the most iconic horror designs of all time. He's just really cool. You can't really go wrong with Pyramid Head. And I feel like it's even better now because people used to give you a lot of flack for playing Pyramid Head. But I think people have come to realize that Pyramid Head is a lot harder than he appeared to be. When he released, everybody was like, easy mode killer, you know, he's ruining the game, blah, blah, blah. But I think people have come to realize in the later parts of the, you know, now that it's been a long time since he's been released, it's been about a year, that, you know, hitting those shots with the Rites of Judgment is kind of hard. And even with, you know, his zoning, sometimes that's hard to pull off. So he's not exactly easy mode. He doesn't have any, like, map pressure at all. So, and without offensive DS, which was kind of like his main annoying thing, was he got rid of offensive DS. Now there's no offensive DS anymore. Well, there is offensive DS, but you just got to do a lot more to force it. So like his main annoying thing isn't even an annoying thing anymore. So, you know, it's like, you know, how can you go wrong with Pyramid Head, right? Pyramid Head is just, you know, a very, very cool little killer from a very, very cool IP from one of the best horror games of all time, and he's got good stuff going on. So yeah. Number 6, the good old classic, the OG, the original, Trapper. Yeah, we love Trapper. Trapper's great because sometimes I just don't feel like chasing. You know, some days chasing's annoying. You know, especially if you know, all it takes is getting to the center of a tile and they just dead hard and they make the pallet anyway, even though they wouldn't have made it because they played it wrong, and that's just frustrating. But with Trapper, you know, they don't see the trap coming, they go, and then you're done. You know, you just call it a day. You know, it doesn't always go your way, right? Because you know, sometimes you don't have enough time to set traps, even with Corrupt, and other times they just kind of don't go to the area that has all your traps and you just get blown out of the water. But those times where the traps start rolling, you start get multiple snaps a match, people are going in basement, it is a snowball feeling that is unrivaled by almost every character in the game. Oh my god, it's such a good feeling to watch. To already have somebody up on your shoulders and you hear another snap of somebody's leg getting stuck in a bear trap and you're like, now the plane's coming all together. It's really fun. And I think, you know, while there's some really low lows with Trapper, there's also some really, really high highs with Trapper, and that kind of can't be removed, you know? So that's why Trapper sits very comfortably at number 6. Now we are getting into the top 5, which is the people I play the most. Sitting comfortably at number 5 is Bleat, good old Blight. I wish there was something deeper to why I like Blight. I don't think his lore is especially interesting, nor does it really match his power at all, but you know, there's just something fun about zooming around. I don't know. I don't know. He's one of those characters I play solely based because his gameplay is fun, you know, when it works. Like if you play Swamp once as Blight, it makes me not want to play him for like ever again because you just slide off everything on Swamp for some reason. But if you get those games where, like, you know, all your rushes are working and you're sliding off things you want to slide off and hitting things you want to hit, there's just nothing more fun than just yeeting around the map as Blight. It's just so fun. He's just like all map pressure, and it's hilarious. It's just too fun. It's too fun to yeet around. Okay, number 4, somebody who I've not really recently, but like started out like really low and like really moved up and is progressively becoming one of my favorite characters. It's good old Billy. Even after his nerf, look at that. I actually didn't play Billy too much before his nerf because that was kind of like the mid chapter update that nerfed him was like my first mid chapter, because that was like right after the Blight PTB, right? And that's when I, you know, started playing the game. Hillbilly's fun. It's funny because like I didn't play Hillbilly at all, and then they had that rift where they had the pig head, and I thought that cosmetic was just hilarious. He just like raided a town like a town's pig fair and just took their pig. Like that's just funny. And now I wear him with the swim trunks, and he just looks like a total goofball. And you know, I was wearing it mostly for the meme effect. I was playing him mostly just so I could look stupid. But then I started getting into it, and then I started like getting engravings and curving into people and then back revving people and doing it. And I was like, wait, he's fun. He's very fun. And it was just kind of like downhill from there. So I like Billy a lot now, even with his overheat mechanic. Like he's still like, if he didn't have his overheat mechanic, he'd probably be like 2 or 3 to be honest for me. But because he has his overheat mechanic, and it's just like I gotta watch that and make sure I'm not like, you know, making sure I'm not having too much fun essentially, which is very disappointing. He's gonna sit at 4 instead of something higher, but otherwise he would be much higher. Number 3, good old Huntress. I know everybody and their mother likes Huntress, right? Like it's not a big thing. It's like, wow, you like Huntress? Like everybody plays Huntress, you know, everybody is a Huntress main, and it's very unoriginal. But there's just something fun about hitting hard snipes, you know? Like a lot of characters, like I don't get a lot of it. Like the main reason I don't play characters like Spirit is just like, it's not because, you know, they're OP. It's just because they're boring, right? Like standing still at a pallet, I don't feel like I've outsmarted anybody. I don't think I feel like I've done anything skillful. I feel like I've just waited for the survivor to make a mistake. Huntress is like kind of the opposite, where she's pretty difficult, but like everything is you, right? Like hitting a hard hatchet, that's all you, right? Like that has no survivor factor. The survivor didn't screw up. You're just like, you got it. Even if the survivor is making the dumbest mistake ever, this happens a ton on Twitch. Like when I'm streaming and I'm playing Huntress, people will avoid my hatches by playing stupid, because I'm like, why would you run that way? And I just throw the wrong way because they would run theoretically into where I was throwing the hatchet, but I flick last second and I miss them because they're playing so stupid. Like the survivors could be playing completely dumb, and you could still miss. Like Huntress is hard. Huntress is very difficult, but like in that regard, I like her because like there's a lot of like skillful things you can do with her, and that ceiling's pretty high. Not as high as like Nurse, but like it's a pretty high ceiling, and I think that I find that challenge kind of intriguing. So yeah, that's why Huntress very comfortably sits at number 3. Number 2, well, you know what's coming. Good old Mookle Myers. Yes, Halloween is my favorite horror franchise of all time. Very excited for Halloween Kills this October. Also, this is the character that got me into the game because I downloaded it to play with a friend, but we didn't really end up playing, so it was just kind of sitting in my library. But I found out that there was a Halloween DLC where you could play as Michael Myers from the Halloween franchise, and I was like, you can play as my favorite horror antagonist of all time? Yo. So you can play as your favorite. You can play as my favorite horror antagonist of all time? Yo. And the rest is history. Now I'm like deep in this game making these videos all the time, and you can blame that on Mookle Myers being in this game. And he was my main for the longest time. He was my main until somebody else came out. I mean, you knew it was coming. Don't pretend like, you know, if you've paid attention to my streams at all, you know Nemesis is my new main. Nemesis is my new number 1. Number 1 is Nemesis. Very confidently. I think the main reason why so first off, I've been playing and getting into the Resident Evil series lately. So like, you know, I know him very well and I love those games a lot. So now, you know, I have one of my favorite horror franchises, my horror game franchises, and now I have a character from him in here, which is super cool. You know, it's like the Pyramid Head effect, except like times 10,000 for me. Also, mechanically, his power is essentially Mookle and Huntress put together. So that's my number 2 and my number 3. Look at that. So essentially, he was my top character and my secondary. He was my main and my secondary combined into one character. He was my main character and my secondary character combined into one person. Like literally, they could not have spoon-fed me any harder for a character. Wait, oh well, they did. There's cute little zombies running around. There's cute little zombies going, and they're essentially doing nothing. Survivor mains They aren't very good. I played a game session for like 6 hours, and I got like maybe 3 hits from the zombies from a whole day of play. The zombies are not OP. The zombies are not annoying. Get over yourself. They are cute. They are my babus, and you will not insult them any longer. You already complained enough to get their AI nerfed, and now they just run and get stuck on things. You will not take this away from me. Will not. Yeah. In addition to his fun power being a mix of my 2 favorite characters with the tear up and the ranged attack, he also has cute little zombies that run everywhere, and that's just... Being a zombie dad was just not something I never knew I needed until he came out, and now I'm just having the best time of my life, and it's very nice. It's very nice. So there is my comprehensive list, at least of, you know, now in July of 2021, of my top 10 favorite characters in Dead by Daylight, my top 10 killers that I like to play. Now, of course, like the bottom section, some of these might be a little bit interchangeable, maybe, but the top 5 is pretty solid. I like those guys a lot. So yeah. So if you ever wonder what I'm into, what characters I like, if you want me to talk about the killers I hate the most, we can also make that video. So let me know if you want to see that, because I will rant significantly longer about that. So yeah, let me know if you want to see that video, and thank you so much for watching. And if I don't see you in the YouTube zone or in the Twitch zone, I will see you when I see you, friends. Goodbye.